We have new information now involving a former New Haven police officer charged with sexually assaulting a minor.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Hector Molina read through the arrest warrant and found some new details about the alleged sexual relationship. He is joining us live from the police department in New Haven. Hector.
Well, former New Haven police officer Jeremy Elliott was a school resource officer and a member of the department's police athletic league. Now, according to that arrest warrant, that league was how he met the victim, who was in the summer of her sophomore year. And according to the warrant, that's when they started a sexual relationship that lasted several years. The Police Athletic League is an activity-based program for kids. The arrest warrant says Elliott met his victim in the summer of 2012 when she was a counselor and police explorer. The two exchanged phone numbers, and investigators say Elliott sent multiple sexual text messages, including that he wished he could put her up against the wall in a sexual way. The underage victim says the two had a consensual sexual relationship and had sexual intercourse about 20 times inside and outside of the athletic league. That included the victim's home and Elliott's personal car. The victim says the sexual relationship was on and off from 2012 to 2020. In 2020, the victim ended her relationship with Elliott because she met someone else. The warrant says the victim messaged Elliott's wife, Jasnina, from a fake Facebook account, telling her about the relationship she had with Elliott. The victim told police she felt disgusted about the relationship and saw a therapist. The therapist said the client explored sexual and emotional trauma and the physiological, psychological, and emotional impact it had on her. The warrant says in July of this year, the victim posted on Facebook that she was sexually assaulted by a former New Haven police officer. New Haven police also interviewed the victim's sister and ex-boyfriends, who all confirmed the victim's relationship with Elliott. So Elliott's now being charged with second-degree sexual assault. He was arraigned in court on Friday and released on bond. We're live in New Haven tonight. Hector Molina, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.